The following video contains content, footage, and inspiration from the following piece of media. I want you to take a deep breath for a moment and think back to the earliest happy memory you have. If these images give you some strange feeling, I can tell you what that feeling is. Nostalgia. I want to give a brief description of nostalgia before I really start the video, but I don't think the existing definition does the feeling justice. I'll explain in more detail later. If you stick around, I promise that you will feel differently about the world around you. For a while, at least. Nostalgia is a feeling that almost aches, but a positive kind of ache, if that makes sense. Like watching the final episode to the best TV show. While you are happy you got to experience this TV show, you know that you can never truly get this feeling back. Or like looking at a photo of a loved one, knowing you can never feel their embrace again. It is a feeling that takes you back to a simpler time, usually when you were a child, and things just seemed easier. You didn't need to prove yourself to anyone. You were just alive, having fun.
We'll go together in flight.
This feeling almost radiates from old and liminal images, but we will touch on liminality in a moment. Nostalgia is best achieved usually by recreating the thoughts or experiences from your childhood. That's where that strange feeling comes from when you look at an old photo of a playground as an example. Usually it helps if the photo also feels old, like it's blurry and taken at a weird angle, kind of like your dad could have taken this photo when you finished packing for a road trip or to move. If it feels nostalgic, that is because of context, but I'll explain that too soon. Trust me, it'll make sense. This is why nostalgic photos usually are not photos of places or things you consciously think about. Here's an example. This is just a normal mall, but when you take away the people and the other things that make it look and feel like a normal mall, something you're used to, it becomes something strange and unfamiliar. While you know that it was and still is a mall, somehow you can't shake the feeling that something could be around that corner. Nostalgia as a setting is difficult to experience and even harder to portray, but context helps with this. Say you were at some work environment and I showed you this photo at random. You'd probably think I'm weird, but if I give you some artificial context by saying, this photo is so nostalgic for some reason, maybe some 80s music is playing in the background while no one else is around, I can create a liminal experience subliminally. Let's talk about the reasons that liminal photos are liminal. Context and nostalgia. These are the main ingredients in the formula that creates the liminal experience. This is where liminality comes from. Liminality and liminal photos are strange, nearly dreamlike photos, places like an infinite hallway or what seems like a regular room with nothing but the sky outside. Things that wouldn't make sense logically in real life, but it could be something you would potentially see in a dream. Liminality as a concept became much more popular after Kane Pixels made his Backrooms video. Backrooms is an online concept revolving around the idea of falling out of reality and being trapped in an infinite, illogical, separate reality. Liminality is very similar to the Backrooms, and the two almost go hand in hand. The Backrooms are liminal, and anything liminal can make you think of the Backrooms. Liminality can not only come from images of childhood experiences, but from lack of context as well. Things like a school completely devoid of people, or at night can force you to see the background of the environment and makes you consciously think subconscious thoughts. Usually we don't linger on passing thoughts. That's why liminal spaces usually are transitional spaces. And in this scenario, you might take the experience out of context, and humans have contextual brains. Look at this image. Context can make things that are exactly the same seem completely different. Context can come in many forms. As big of a difference as people and cars in a city to something as little as recently renovated store. That makes the store look empty, dark, and taken from its intended context or purpose. The Backrooms is usually depicted as an old, run-down office space with strange proportions and architecture that seemingly makes no sense, as if it was designed and built by something non-human, trying to imitate what human architecture looks like. This works so well because there is no context or purpose to most of these images. The original Backrooms photo from years ago has been studied and analyzed so much, and yet it took forever for people to find where it came from. It had no context, so it was liminal. Liminality is usually technically defined as a transitional space, like a hallway or a sidewalk. However, I think that is far too narrow of a term. I mean, if you look at the top posts on the liminal space subreddit, one of them is a bingo hall. But I digress. I will touch on what liminality really is and what it really means at the end of the video. So many people online love the feeling of nostalgia. It seems to genuinely help people as a coping method as well. But no one knows what it is. I watch an unhealthy amount of memes. Yet this channel is my favorite. Show them some love. You are your mindset. Unironically, they have genuinely good content. I'm not sponsored nor friends with them. I simply think they're great at what they do. Where was I? Right. I watch a lot of meme channels. It's a lot easier than committing to a TV show, and here and there I'll see a hope posting clip or a nostalgic meme, and I'll check the comments to see what profound things people are saying about it, and no one knows anything about it still. This is what I mean. Comments talk about how they can't describe this feeling. They talk about how they want to see more of this comment, and seemingly don't know how to find it. But wait, I can never find it either. One of the reasons I started this whole project is because there is very, very little of the content I really want to see on this site. Sure, there are compilations of liminal pictures, nostalgic ads, and nostalgic images of early 2000 toys and tech, but none of it really hits me that way. And that isn't really the kind of thing that gets you in that mindset either. What I want to see is more people knowing about the concept of nostalgia and how it works. Maybe then we can have a more positive outlook upon the world. Quite a tangent. Putting that aside, liminality and nostalgia also go hand in hand. The two can both be used as vessels to convey the other as an emotion. Think about the first time you saw snow, or the first road trip you went on, first time you moved residences. Maybe you grew up in a bustling city or a quiet neighborhood. Maybe you grew up in the middle of nowhere away from your friends. Or maybe you grew up within walking distance of your friends and favorite places. And yet, we seem to share these experiences on a fundamental level. It's kind of like deja vu, which in and of itself is something strange. Deja vu can come from a familiar experience, even if you've never been to that place or seen that piece of media, etc. Nostalgia is a strange feeling. It's like a combination of the thought, wow, these are beautiful memories I will cherish forever, and the thought, I will never get this experience back. As I mentioned, it's usually achieved by stirring up memories you enjoyed from long ago, whether it be music, smell, an environment, a game, or even a person like an old relative. If it can bring up an enjoyed memory, it can be nostalgic. Now, nostalgia isn't easy to convey, at least not immediately. For example, listening to Mice on Venus. This song brings back only happy memories, for me at least. Remember, a nostalgic experience usually isn't guaranteed or shared wholly. But my point is, I don't think Mojang intended for Minecraft, especially the earlier versions and the content around it, to be nostalgic. It kinda just happened. And videos like the one playing here fascinate me, because this is an almost universal experience between all of us. That is, games like the ones shown here. Because here, I may be looking into it too much, but I think this connects us all on a fundamental level. We don't have the exact same memories, but we're all the same. We have such similar memories. I find it hard not to connect with someone that way. Similarly to nostalgia being fond memories that you can never get back, only reminisce about. There are games that you can never really play again. Halo 2 is probably the most popular example of this. The story goes as follows. On April 16th, 2010, at 12 a.m. precisely, Microsoft made the decision to shut down Halo 2's servers forever to host the next big Halo game. But for some reason, Microsoft didn't boot the players offline immediately. Instead, Microsoft allowed players to finish one last game before they shut down the servers and players could never do so again. Eventually, only 14 players remained on the servers. They were fighting against truly unbeatable odds, and yet they still fought. Similar to Halo Reach's last mission, the only objective is to survive. You're left to fight off endless Covenant forces to give the ship an opportunity to evacuate. But at the end of the day, there is no secret happily ever after ending. The only ending is one where you lose. One ending where time moves on. Sadly, you can't linger on these memories or games forever. You have to move on. These 14 Halo 2 players were still fighting. There was no way to win, and yet they had the objective to keep playing as long as possible. Undertale is a game in which you don't have to kill anyone to beat the game, and this game does an excellent job at making you love the characters and feel like they really are your friends. Eventually, after you beat the game and you love it, you know that you can never truly get back that first experience. Eventually, you desire more of this game that was so good the first time. You're grasping at straws trying to get that feeling again. You play a genocide run where you kill everything and everyone in the game just to see what happens, just to experience more of the game you love, just to grasp onto these memories. Flowey, a character in the game, makes this clear himself. He also has determination, the power to save, out of boredom and his desire to experience more of the world he loves. He talks to anyone and everyone, saying anything and everything, even killing everyone just to see what would happen. He eventually exhausts every option. Flowey does this because he remembers how fondly he felt when he was friends with everyone for the first time. I was desperately in love with this game when I was younger, and I thought the same thing. I played fan games, I got every ending. But in the end, I had to move on. I couldn't linger on this memory, this first experience. To quote Flowey, "I don't like this," I told myself. "I'm just doing this because I have to know what happens. I've done everything this world has to offer. I've read every book, I've burned every book. I've won every game, I've lost every game. I've appeased everyone, and I've killed everyone. Sets of numbers, lines of dialogue. I've seen them all. And so have we, the player, seen all of it. Maybe we haven't done every single run, but we know what happens." Undertale is more than 10 years old now. And it is only getting older. Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was an incredible game, especially for its time. 7 years ago, you could really feel the weight of what you knew you had to do, and from any point in the game, you could see Hyrule Castle, your final goal. You could also feel the sorrow and faint hope of the characters in the game. It really did feel like you were doing your best to save the people's hope in a dying nation. When you finally prepare for the final battle to free Hyrule, you climb to the peak of the castle, you're ready for what waits inside. You've probably overprepared, let's be real, and you're excited to see the happy ending you get because of all the good you did. But after you defeat the boss, after you win, the game is just over. There is no happy ending. You don't get to see how the world changed for the better because of your work. The timeline just rolls back to before you defeated Ganon. This, to me, was a very unsatisfying ending to a fantastic game. So I craved more. I got every collectible, beat every boss, I saw everything there was to see. And that was it. There was really nothing more to do. I had very fond memories of this game, but I didn't want to let it go, but I had to drop it. At some point, I have to let it decay into just a memory. I have to let it die. This game is, without the slightest shadow of a doubt, my favorite game of all time, with arguably the best written character ever. Full stop. And I've only played through it once. Red Dead Redemption 2 could get a project of this caliber on its own, and for that matter, as could the main character, Arthur Morgan. Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place in the Wild West, or, well, what's still left of it. The story takes place in the year 1899, right on the cusp of the turn of the century, during the dying time of the outlaw. The story follows a gang of outlaws throughout the variety of settings, from the coldest mountains to the driest desert, to literally Louisiana. Rhodes is my hometown. As the gang travels throughout the states, running from the law, you'd think they meet such zany and wacky characters. But no.
Do you have any ibuprofen? I got a headache.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is a tragedy by definition. Throughout the story, all of the most innocent people die. The game, or rather the first part of it, He's very good at trying to portray that the world is cruel and that karma and morals lead you only into a grave. I'm looking at you, Micah. But I don't think that's what it really ends up saying in the end. Arthur, the character you play as, contracts tuberculosis. He was collecting a poor, sick man's debt and ends up beating the man to death. Arthur rationalizes all of the debts he collects and the harm he inflicts upon the widows, desperados, young innocent people Strauss has taken advantage of as a necessary evil to protect the ones he loves. But he still hates himself for it. He repeatedly rejects the notion that he's a good man, even when he is doing more than his best to make up for his sins. In Chapter 6, you can come across a preacher, Brother Dorkins, in Saint Denis. He will ask you for help. Arthur obliges. A ways down the line, you can meet Sister Calderon, a nun at the church in Saint Denis. If he helps her with something that was stolen from her, Arthur can meet her again at the train station after freeing the lieutenant from the reservation. And Arthur opens his heart up to her.
What's wrong?
I'm dying, sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I got TB. I got it. Beating a man to death for a few bucks. I've lived a bad life, sister.
We've all lived bad lives, Mr. Morgan. We all sin. But I know you.
You don't know me.
Forgive me, but that's the problem. You don't know you.
What do you mean?
I don't know, but whenever we happen to meet, you're always helping people and smiling.
I had a son. He passed away. I had a girl who loved me. I threw that away. My mama died when I was a kid. And my daddy, well, I watched him die. And it weren't soon enough.
My husband died a long time ago. Life is full of pain. But there is also love and beauty.
What am I gonna do now?
Be grateful that for the first time, you see your life clearly.
Sure.
Perhaps you could help somebody. Helping makes you really happy.
But I still don't believe in nothing.
Often, neither do I.
Huh?
But then I meet someone like you, and everything makes sense.
You're too smart for me, sister. I guess I'm afraid.
There is nothing to be afraid of, Mr. Morgan. Take a gamble that love exists and do a loving act.
Soon after, Arthur sees the writing on the wall. His disease is only getting worse, and Dutch, without the angel over his shoulder, is beginning to go mad, leaving John to die several times, as well as doing things he otherwise never would have done. Arthur then knows what he needs to do. He helps as many people as he can before his time is up. He tries to make right by the people he has wronged, not for himself, but for them.
Take Jack, and you wait at Copperhead Landing for Abigail and Mrs. Adler.
Thank you, Arthur.
You're a good girl. You live a good life now, you hear?
All right, Arthur. I'll miss...
Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Jack, come here. Be brave, son. I'm gonna go get your mama.
Once the gang is all but fallen apart, most of the memories have passed away, or Arthur has helped them escape.
That you was.
Arthur finds out that Micah was the rat.
Get out of here.
The many miles we walk, the many things we learn. The building of a shrine, only just to burn. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
There's a good man within you. But he is wrestling with a giant.
It is then, once more, that Arthur does what he knows he must.
All right, Arthur, come on, let's go. You go. Keep pushing, Arthur. No. No. I think I've pushed all I can. Come on. You go. We ain't got time for this. Not now. We ain't both gonna make it. Go. Now. I'll hold them off. It would mean a lot to me. Please. There ain't no more time for talk. Go. Arthur. Go to your family. Arthur! Get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man. You're my brother. I know. I know.
He saved one last person, tying up all of the loose ends. Arthur saves John. He gets him out, and it takes everything he's got. He chooses to help John so that he can see his family again. Something Arthur used to resent him for, because that life is what Arthur lost so long ago.
I got you now, Black Lung! Rat! You rat! I'm a survivor, Black Lung! A survivor! That's all there is! Living and dying!
Arthur holds back the Pinkertons and fights Micah in one last desperate battle to do the right thing. But in the end, Arthur didn't win. He didn't beat Micah.
You ain't gonna reach that gun.
He didn't get to experience the so-called good ending that he fought so hard to give to everyone else.
You lost, my sick friend. You lost.
Yeah, Micah. Despite my best efforts to the contrary, it turns out I've won. God damn you.
It is over. Now, Arthur. It's over.
Oh, Dutch. He's right. You know it, and I know it.
He's sick. He's dying. He's talking crazy. Up there on the ridge.
I gave you all I had. I did.
Come on. Dutch. Let's go, buddy. We made it. We won. Come on.
John made it. He's the only one. The rest of us... No. I tried. In the end, I did.
Come on. Let's go. We can make it. Come on, Dutch. Come on!
And yet, he won in the sense that really matters. He righted his wrongs, and with one last act of true selflessness, got the man he called brother to safety. Took a gamble with love exists. And he did a loving act. While Red Dead Redemption 2 is a tragedy as defined in the story writing sense, I think Arthur got what he truly wanted in the end. He helped everyone he could, and he was able to reach redemption and found peace. Minecraft is the game that needs no introduction, including this one. Arguably the most popular game of all time, Minecraft was home to countless childhood memories, countless valuable hours spent with friends and family, countless hours spent just living. Many people say that they miss old Minecraft, but you can always play old Minecraft. You can simply change the version to whatever you'd like in the launcher. But I don't think these people miss old Minecraft. They miss how it made them feel. They miss being young. You miss being young. We're growing up and we can't do anything about it. Minecraft has always been a lonely game, too. If you were playing with friends, then you could enjoy their company, the added bonus of playing a game while you do. But that loneliness is always in the back of your mind. You can try to ignore it, but no matter how many monsters you slay, no matter how many statues you erect, no matter how many castles you build, no matter how many friends you spend time with, it has to end. It won't last forever. Someday, you will place your last block. You will slay your last monster, chop down your last tree. You will say goodbye to that friend for the last time. Stampy Longnoses has said goodbye. Game Theory is retired. Dan TDM is a father now. Skydoes Minecraft faded away. Technoblade had to leave this world behind. Someday you'll look back at Minecraft, that although it was just a survival game, it sparked a journey within you, and countless others you will look back fondly and be thankful for every last bit of it. Although it is impossible to win, we still try to enjoy every moment. We fight for this metaphorical survival. We still try to resist the cold indifference of the ticking of the clock. After all, it's more human than being irrational. There is no happy ending. There is no ride off into the sunset while the screen fades to black. No. Unfortunately, everyone must dance with a death, sooner or later. Can't last forever. But we are humans, and above all else, humans are stubborn. So we try to make the moment last. We try to live our best lives, even if it doesn't seem that way all the time. And although we can't stop the clock, and slow it down. As kids, we were better at this than we are now. Again, this goes back around to nostalgia. As kids, we didn't even know we were having the time of our lives. And that's why we miss it. Nostalgia isn't created, it is given. Nostalgia cannot be made artificially. That is why it is special. Truly special. There's a lot of arguing and fighting online about what liminality is and what it means, but it doesn't really matter. Some people think that liminality strictly comes from transitional spaces. Some think it is solely from dreamlike images. And I have been involved in liminality in the backrooms for years, as well as having done extensive research for this project. So, if anyone can define what is liminal and what isn't, it's me. So here goes. Liminality is any feeling, be it nostalgia, sadness, or happiness, that you get when you think back to when you were younger. One of the biggest struggles in our lives was doing homework, not being able to see our friends, when you didn't remember needing to care about things like money or relationships. Just having fun with your friends was enough. Time that you never appreciated and never could appreciate, till that all too familiar existential void crept into your life. And while they may just seem like video games, these pieces of media become a part of us, a part of who we are. They inspire us, connect us, and get us on our feet even in the most dire straits. So whenever you feel like you aren't doing the right thing, or you're just unsure of what to do, just remember that a lifetime only lasts a moment. You never know how sweet a memory is until it's gone. If this video made you feel something new, let me know. And remember, live in the present, acknowledge the future, but never forget the past. I would like to thank my wonderful Discord community, which I owe a lot of inspiration from this video, and you can join it via my channel bio if you like. I would also like to give credit to AlfaOxTrot and TheCursedJudge for very, very heavily inspiring this video that I tried my best to make into a work of art. None of the songs in this video are mine, and all of them will be ordered and linked in the description below. Most of you didn't know this, but while I strive to work as a pilot flying high above the clouds, what I really want to be is a voice actor. So I suppose that this was a wonderful opportunity to, if nothing else, get some practice for myself. As of the original upload of this video, this channel has 21 subscribers, so I may be speaking to an audience that isn't there, and that's okay with me. I did not make this video for myself, and certainly not for fame or recognition, but for those who have shared my experiences, for the hope of shedding light on some of the reasons why things are as they are, and maybe give someone who is lost in the darkness some closure. This video probably stands out amongst gameplay videos and shitposts on my channel, and I might make another one like this, but I really poured my heart and soul into this one. I would also like to address you directly, viewer. I have been working on this video for over 2 years. I scrapped and remade it 7 times. I simply wasn't satisfied with the quality. I set out on this endeavor to hopefully create the best video about liminality and nostalgia there is, because these topics are quite near and dear to my heart. From the depths of my soul, I thank you for watching. I have been Burnt Sock, and you have been a great audience. Have a good night. I do want to leave you with one last sentiment, though. They say that when a person leaves this world and moves on to the next, their mind is the last to go. They say that the brain survives for 7 minutes after death. 7 minutes that the brain uses to look back at its favorite memories. 7 minutes that the brain uses to give one last peaceful send-off to this world. 7 minutes in which the human body can finally, truly find rest. After all the noise has quieted down, and they look back at the life they had, look back at everything they'd done, everything they'd gone through, everyone they had wronged or befriended, high and low, all of it. Nostalgia is the last emotion the human mind experiences, and it's kind of sad, in a way, but I think it's fitting. After all, what more can we hope for than a soft, quiet, gentle goodbye?